Imagine falling so deeply, so completely in love, that the entire world seems to bend to the will of your heart. Imagine possessing the power not just to promise your beloved the world, but to actually build them a new one from scratch. A world so magnificent, it would be whispered about for millennia. This isn't just a fairy tale. It's the legend of a love so profound that it inspired the creation of one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, all just to make one person smile. This is the story behind the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, a breathtaking man-made paradise said to have floated like a green cloud above the sun-scorched desert sands. It was an impossible vision of life and beauty, a testament to both engineering genius and the power of a king's devotion. To understand this marvel, we must travel back in time to the 6th century BC. Picture ancient Babylon, the jewel of Mesopotamia. This wasn't just any city, it was the largest and most magnificent metropolis on earth. Its walls were legendary, its temples reached for the heavens, and its streets hummed with the energy of a global superpower. And at its helm was the formidable King Nebuchadnezzar II. A brilliant military strategist and an ambitious builder, he had expanded his empire and enriched his capital beyond imagination. He was a man accustomed to getting what he wanted, but his heart belonged to his queen, Amytis. Their marriage was a political alliance meant to unite Babylon with the kingdom of the Medes. Amytis came from a land of verdant mountains, cool streams, and rolling green hills. It was a world away from the flat, arid landscape of her new home. Despite the opulence of the palace, she was deeply homesick. The relentless sun and the endless plains of Mesopotamia were a constant, painful reminder of the vibrant, living homeland she had left behind. Legend says the great king found his beloved queen weeping in the palace courtyard, inconsolable. Seeing her sorrow, Nebuchadnezzar, the conqueror of nations, was moved. He couldn't take her back to her mountains, so he decided to do what any love-struck ruler with limitless resources and absolute power might do. He would bring the mountains to her. He commanded an impossible oasis to rise from the earth, a gift to soothe his wife's aching heart. The project was an engineering challenge of staggering proportions. Terraces built like the steps of a giant ziggurat soared skyward, some say reaching over 75 feet into the air. Each level was a vast balcony designed to hold immense weight. To prevent water from leaking through and destroying the structure below, the floors were meticulously layered with reeds, thick bitumen, and sheets of lead, a waterproof seal that was centuries ahead of its time. Then came the soil, hauled up bucket by bucket, enough to support not just flowers and shrubs, but massive mature trees. Nebuchadnezzar sent expeditions to the far corners of his empire and beyond, bringing back the flora of Amytis's homeland. Cedars, cypresses, fig trees, and fragrant blossoms of every color imaginable. But how to keep this vertical forest alive in the blistering desert heat? The solution was the project's crowning achievement. Ingenious engineers allegedly devised a complex irrigation system. The most popular theory suggests a chain pump, or an early version of the Archimedes screw, was used. Day and night, slaves would have worked in shifts, cranking a system of pulleys and screws, hauling a continuous stream of water from the nearby Euphrates River all the way to the uppermost terrace. From there, it cascaded down in artificial streams and waterfalls, watering each level and filling the air with a cool, refreshing mist. The effect must have been breathtaking. A living, breathing mountain of green shimmering with color, its fragrance perfuming the city air. For those approaching Babylon from the desert, it would have seemed like a mirage, a floating paradise suspended in the sky. It was a place so magical, so unbelievable that ancient Greek and Roman writers like Strabo and Diodorus Siculus described it in vivid detail, swearing it was a true wonder of the world. But here's the twist, the great historical mystery that continues to baffle archaeologists and historians to this day. For all its fame, there is almost no definitive proof these gardens ever actually existed in Babylon. Archaeologists have scoured the ruins of the ancient city, but they've found nothing. No crumbling bricks that match the description, no remnants of the legendary irrigation pipes, not even a foundation that could have supported such a colossal weight. Even more damning is the silence from the Babylonians themselves. Nebuchadnezzar II left behind countless cuneiform inscriptions boasting of his architectural achievements, the temples, the city walls, his grand palace. Yet in all of these detailed records there is not a single mention of the Hanging Gardens. How could a king who documented everything fail to mention his most romantic and miraculous creation? This has led to several compelling theories. One, proposed by Dr. Stephanie Dalley of Oxford University, suggests the gardens did exist, but they weren't in Babylon at all. She argues that for centuries writers may have confused Babylon with another great Mesopotamian city, Nineveh. It was Nineveh's ruler, the Assyrian king Sennacherib, who lived a century before Nebuchadnezzar, and left behind detailed descriptions of a magnificent palace with a wonder for all peoples, a terraced garden irrigated by a complex system of canals and water-raising screws. Sennacherib's own inscriptions match the later descriptions of the Hanging Gardens almost perfectly. Could it be that Greek soldiers who saw these gardens in Nineveh later misattributed them to the more famous city of Babylon and its legendary king? It's a tantalizing possibility, a case of mistaken identity on a monumental scale. Another theory is that the whole story was simply a myth, a romantic fantasy that grew taller and more elaborate with each telling. Perhaps it was a poetic invention by writers who had never been to Babylon, a story created to symbolize the city's immense wealth and power, and to capture the Hellenistic world's fascination with Eastern luxury. Yet the legend endures. Why? Because whether they were in Babylon or Nineveh, whether they were real or imagined, the Hanging Gardens represent something timeless. They tap into our collective fascination with lost worlds and our admiration for grand, impossible dreams. Maybe we're all a little enchanted by the idea that love can literally move mountains, or in this case, build them from scratch and make them bloom in the desert. Whether the Hanging Gardens were a physical place or just a dream written on the pages of history, they remind us that the greatest wonders are often born from the deepest human emotions: love, longing, and the desire to create a slice of heaven on earth for someone you cherish. So next time you hear about the wonders of the ancient world, think about that powerful king, his homesick queen, and the gardens, real, misplaced, or imagined, that still capture our hearts and our imagination thousands of years later. It makes you wonder, what grand gesture would you make for love? Let me know in the comments below.